We are back with Broke to Woke, and we're getting some real deep intel, some insights right now on when we were really broke. We made some big mistakes. We were doing some dumb things. We were taking risks, and we were losing. I'm going to do a tangent really quick. One of my favorite things I talk about to people is losing and failing. It's two different things. Mm-hmm. What's your belief on failure? 40 seconds or less.
When you stop trying.
I love it. So when you just stop, you just give up.
Yeah. Other than that, it always ends up working for your good. Mm-hmm. Nothing is wasted. Mm-hmm. Somehow you'll use it, and don't curse it. Never curse it. In the greatest loss of my life, 2 years ago. You'll hear about that story later. Ooh. That was my biggest takeaway.
Okay.
Never curse any part of your journey. Because as long as you continue to speak that it will somehow come back and serve you,
right.
It really weirdly will. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how it works out.
Yeah.
But you'll have to stay tuned.
And the thing is, when you have failing and you have losing, there is losing.
Yeah.
Losing's going to happen.
There's losing.
Losing will absolutely occur.
Mm-hmm.
And failing is just don't give up. Why did you not give up? You were in your car. What kind of car was it?
It was actually a nice car. I've always had nice cars.
Okay.
One other thing going on at the same time was I had sold my car to a guy who was supposed to pay me, didn't, and then promised he would. I kept counting on that money, and it never came through. The car is in a junkyard somewhere now, which is crazy.
Brutal. Oh, my gosh.
I had sold that car to him so I could buy this new one. So I'm in like so much debt. It's insane. It's ridiculous.
Just mountains of debt.
Yeah. And that was an all-consuming, crushing feeling.
That's scary. People hate it.
I don't know if you've ever had that, but it feels like a giant crushing your chest. Just can't breathe. I hated it. Oh, my gosh. And to know that people live their whole life like that.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of promises to myself at 18, like, this is not going to be my future. I had no reason to believe I could actually get out of it, except for that somehow I'll figure it out. So I'm living in my car. What kind of car? I feel like a failure. This is a Mustang, a 2005 blue convertible Mustang.
Okay.
So it's a two-door. It's tiny.
Yeah, it's a nice car, but it's tiny.
Yeah. It's stacked to the back of the roof with plastic bags of my stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm living in my car. Again, I can't tell people. And that's the power of mascara. Waterproof people. You got to get waterproof, ladies, for the beginning of your journey, because you're going to be crying that ish off every day. I probably had a scheduled cry every 4 hours. I'm not even kidding you. For the first 7 years of my career. I'm not kidding. There was so much crying involved in this journey.
Because it's hard.
It really did suck.
It's so hard.
So I didn't give up because of a little girl that I met when I was 17.
Okay.
So we're on a mission trip in Costa Rica, about 8 hours away from all civilization. Mm-hmm. And we're putting on a women's retreat. At the very end, we were praying over everybody. And the very last girl that I was going to pray for, I asked her name. And she couldn't tell me. And
Why not?
I was asking her, what's going on? She just had this really different look in her face. I asked the translator, I said, what's going on with her? And she said, as a child, her vocal cords were destroyed.
Oh, wow.
Through sexual abuse from her father. And I found out, instantly I was pissed, like anybody would be. I found out that 1 out of every 4 infants die from their father breaking them in sexually. It's socially acceptable, and they do die sometimes. And it was okay. Wow. I was so broken with that absolute hopeless look in her eyes, because she'll never be valued in that community. They just didn't value women. They didn't value children. I went back to my tent with the desire to kill this guy. How could he do something so horrible? I didn't kill him, but I wanted to. And I got on my knees. I said, God, I want to be the one that makes this not socially acceptable. I want to come back and create a way for her to be able to have more.
Right.
And I just dedicated my life to figuring that out. And this was the second big time that God had spoken to me. Right then and there, he said, I'm going to take you out of the mission field and I'm going to put you in business. And that was the biggest punch in the gut to me in the world, because I was like, no.
Because you think you have this path.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, no.
There's nothing more boring than business to me in my mind. I'm like, no. My entire identity is being a missionary. This is like what everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
That was before I bought the house. That was before everything. But I was totally taken back. I did not have the plans to go into business in my life, but that's where the idea came from.
Okay.
So every time that I wanted to quit, again, I'm holding on to this word.
Yep, that was it.
God, you told me to go into business, and for 3 years now, 3 years, nothing worked except for going more and more in debt. And I wanted to quit every day. I felt so stupid. I felt like such a failure. And I saw her eyes. Every time I wanted to quit, I was like, I have to figure this out, because I know if I just try in America, I can create enough wealth and resources and influence to be able to do something about that. We have so much opportunity here. I knew by just learning the puzzle and putting it together, I could make a way for people who don't have access to the kind of opportunity that we do here. Even though it was hard, I knew someday I could figure it out. And so I had this burden forever of being able to make a way. And so that's really what sponsored me overcoming every obstacle I've ever faced, is that look in her eyes. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. And I'll circle back around and say that we all need to have that, something. It can be a family member. It can be somebody you've never met. It could be a dog. It could be a cat. It doesn't matter. It could be a church, a community, someone. If you want to win at life, you better have that reason.
Mm-hmm. Knowing your why.
Yeah, that's it. Man. So when all those times were just too tough, that was what you focused on. So
that's it. I still do.
Yeah.
I still think about it.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible, but it's been a tough journey. Yeah. And I've thought about quitting every day for the first 7 years were really hard. And now it's down to like a couple times a month, but I don't give in because of the purpose greater than myself. And I'm excited to share in a little while how we've taken that purpose and have been able to incorporate it into the businesses and into that mission.
That's interesting that you mentioned that when you said that even now, there's times that you feel like quitting, because I want everyone to hear this. Me too.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
I actually got insecure saying that out loud. I was like, I bet Jerremy doesn't
ever
feel that way.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Do you?
It's hard because I think it's everyone. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners will not admit it because it's like, oh, I'm great. I love my job. I love my businesses. I love my relationships. I love my money. I love all this. It's like, it's so hard. Yeah. There are times where you sit down and you haven't eaten and it's 2 p.m. and you're like, I have to pay this thing, this $497 thing, or this $250,000 thing, or this $100 thing. It depends on where you are in your business. But it's like you have these overwhelming odds and you just get so crumbled by the pressure.
And it doesn't go away.
No, it does not.
You can't turn it off.
They get bigger.
And the more time you spend on it, the better it gets. If you just spend more time, if you could just answer more emails, if you could just find a way to be more there for your team, if you can just be more all the time. And it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. And you could just have a normal life.
Yeah. It's so funny you said that. I have told someone before, it was a family member, and I was like, man, I can imagine a time where if I just went to work.
Can you imagine?
And it would be so cool to 6 o'clock p.m. comes around and I go home.
Some people go home before that.
Yeah. Well, that's also wild. But it's like at 6, but then you don't have to, you can be at home and you can watch a movie and you're okay.
Can you imagine?
No.
It's hard. Can you actually imagine watching a movie and not being like, get your computer?
Yeah. Little guy.
Just hold it.
Yeah. Little guy on your shoulder.
Answer it.
Answer that text message.
Tori needs you.
Yeah. Answer that text message. That email is there.
Edit that presentation.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yep. It is. And those are the struggles that a lot of entrepreneurs will say that, it doesn't exist. Like the whole, I love the quote where it's, if you find something you love, you never work a day in your life. I've always laughed at that Because I go, I still feels like work to me.
Well, it makes me more insecure. I'm like, I'm still getting it wrong.
Yeah. It's like, it still feels like work to me. I have to work on things. I love it. That's why we keep doing it. That's why. Is that because you love it, you will keep doing it. But it's always going to be a challenge. And the challenges become bigger.
Yeah.
Right? 10 years from now, you and I will both worry about $10 million issues. It's going to keep escalating. Yeah. And that issue could be amazing, though. Like, and you could be buying a whole community of helping people and growing this and seeing a whole generation of human beings escalating from poverty and becoming.
Absolutely.
Those are those challenges. It's like,
issues.
Exactly, those nation issues.
As much as we're whining about this, and we haven't started, okay?
No. Yeah.
It can be horrible.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it. It is so worth it. And everything that you overcome, you now have a secret formula that you can share with other people to overcome it faster.
Which is why we're doing this.
Yeah, that is why we're doing this.
Yep.
We both have a host of things that we could be doing.
Yep.
But the point isn't about just giggling about how awesome we are. It's if there's something that I've overcome that can help you, then by God, I want to share it with you.
Right.
Because I want more people to be able to not get knocked out of the game.
Yeah.
There's some incredible people that have so much access to resources that give up because they believe some lie. And a lot of times it's a holy sounding lie. It's when's enough enough? Don't you why do you have to have so much? It's why don't you have more? Oh, the freaking word balance. I hate that word.
Yeah.
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance.
Shut up.
Work-life balance.
Oh, yeah. There is no real thing. It's all defined in the eye of the beholder. Or there's just this list of stuff. And you have to be really careful who you listen to.
Yeah.
That's probably the best advice I've ever been given is
tell me.
Only listen to people you want to be like and in the very, very specific area that you want to be like in it. So if I have a mentor and she is amazing at business, but terrible at marriage, I'm going to listen to her business advice. Like you just have to pick and choose and don't discount the whole human being because they're all imperfect. When you start idolizing your mentors like I did in the very beginning, I missed out on so much because when I would find out their flaws, I'm like, why did I ever listen to them? They're imperfect.
Right.
But we all are.
Yeah, well, you put people on a pedestal.
No pedestals allowed.
No, just don't have a pedestal. They're human.
They're human.
They will bleed like you. They eat like you. They have to do everything that you have to do.
Poop volcano.
Yes, that's going to happen. So I think that's a great takeaway, at least for me, in the sense of when you're listening to someone, you have these advice and you reach out. That's one way to get across these bridges is to have someone else pulling you.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't have to be someone personal and physical. It could be a memory, right? It could be a family member, as you talked about. It could be that woman, that girl that you met. It could be anyone, but we always have to have someone that's pulling us because it will get hard and it will get harder and it will continue to get harder. And they'll just like if you're working out, if you're running, if you're doing a marathon, marathons don't become easier. You just have to keep doing them, you know, and it's still going to be hard over time.
I want to go back to what you were saying. Our problems only get bigger.
Okay.
I will tell you, I've had a $10 million problem. But I also remember sticking my hand up inside of the gas chamber. Because if you poke that thing up, you can empty out the gas line and get more gas out and put it in your car than you really paid for. I don't know if you knew that trick.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you know
I just jiggled it.
No. You know when you hang up the gas and it thinks it's put away?
Okay.
You can put your hand up there, get your hand all oily, whatever, and it will empty out the line to put more gas in your car. This is a trick, people.
Wow.
You will save a solid 50 cents
every
time. I did that for so many years, and I remember someday, Britney, you will not have to do this, and you will be rich.
Britney, I just jiggled the handle. That's like I would just hold it up and just do one of those.
I will have to teach you.
Yeah.
There's more tricks.
You don't.
The point is, as much bigger as the problems I have now, and lawsuits I've been through, and people turning on me, and all the stress and stuff I've gone through, I would rather pick these problems.
Yes.
Because those were taking care of me only.
Yes.
Problems.
Yes.
These are, I can help a nation problems.
I
And it's
love
worth
that.
it.
I love that. We're going to talk about that in the next episode. We're going to talk about that in future episodes. For those who are still listening with us, thank you so much for being on this journey with us. We hope that it's helping you. We hope it's exciting you. And we hope that you're also able to take away some of these small mental maps so that you can overcome any obstacle that you want. That's how you become broke to woke.
Thank you so much for listening in on Broke to Woke. We are so excited about this podcast. If you're interested in doing this for yourself, good news, there's more. And if you want to connect to us, go to GeForce Mastermind on Instagram or geforcemastermind.com. You can even hang out with us, go on a trip with us. Our goal is to help you find your purpose, understand the little key differences so that you can be an even more powerful force for good in the world.